Hello everybody and welcome to Space Truckers, the brand new series for Elite Dangerous. My name as always is Maxwell, and what I've decided to do is this is going to be a pilot episode, and if you guys seem to enjoy it then we'll do more, but the basic premise is I'm going to load into Elite Dangerous. I'm going to do a long distance or a long haul trading route, and I'm basically going to talk to you guys for however long it takes to complete said trading route. I'm going to see how much money we can make. I haven't really thought about what I'm going to talk about through this, but it's basically just going to be as if you're coming along on a long haul space trucking route, and I'm just going to basically chat to you along the way. So what I thought I would talk about this first week in this pilot episode is my experiences with the original Elite, because I played the original Elite back in the very early 90s and I was absolutely blown away by it on the Amiga 500, I think it was. So it wasn't quite the original, it was well, you know what, we'll get into this story once we're in space. Right now I'll tell you about the trade route. What we are going to be doing is we're going to be doing a 6-jump trade route. That's right, 6 jumps. We are going to be going from here, I boot as Chango Dock, and we are going to be going all the way to LHS 3262, which is 6 jumps away, and then we are going to be coming back to Chango Dock. Don't worry, each week we're not going to be flying out of Chango Dock, we're just flying out of Chango Dock this week. So the first thing, thank you for the upload complete. First thing we are going to be buying is, where is it? We're in Chango, so we're going to be buying fish. Obviously, I'm still space trucking in a Cobra Mark III, and that's just because I haven't got the cash to upgrade to the Lakon Type 6 just yet, but hopefully after a few episodes of this we should have made a decent amount of cash, and we are going to be able to fairly quickly upgrade to the Lakon Type 6. So this is going to be fun. It's going to be 6 jumps. We're going to head halfway across the little bubble that we're allowed to head across to, and I haven't played this for a few days, so hopefully my flying skills are still up to scratch. Where are we? We are there. Right, and what I'm doing as well is I'm trying not to sink all of my money into this trade run, which is a mistake I made last time because I wasn't able to afford the insurance if we were, whoops, to be destroyed. So, first place we are going to is Owlin. We'll set course for that. We are no longer mass locked. There we go. Now I said I'm going to keep rolling to a minimum, but it's much quicker to roll and then pitch than it is just to directly yaw. So for times like this, I am going to. Looks like a lot of cargo in space there. I'm pretty sure the white squares are cargo. Interesting. So yeah. Don't want to sink all of my cash into this trade run because I want to be able to afford the insurance cost if everything goes wrong. So yeah, back to the story that I'm meant to be telling you about. The original Elite I played on the Amiga 500, I think it was, so it wasn't quite the original. The 3D models that it had were filled in and coloured in. It wasn't all just wireframe. So it had a little bit more sort of... it had sort of graphical enhancements done to it. It was still basically the same game, but the menus all looked a little bit nicer. It all looked a little bit crisper. The UI was nice. The graphics, like I said, it wasn't all wireframe like the original, like the Commodore 64, the BBC. But it was still basically the same. Right, from Owlin, we're going to LHS 3006. So we will try and find that. We can't, so we'll head to the galaxy map and try and find LHS 3006. LHS 3006. Hit enter on that. Set destination. Exit. And then we are heading this way. And there we go. What's that? Frame shift cancel, jump exceeds drive fuel. Right, that is weird because that's where I'm being told to go, LHS 3006. Huh. I don't really want to fly at 20 times the speed of light there because it's still going to take me years to arrive. Right, let's, Huh, that is very strange. I guess my jump limit isn't 7.74 light years. I guess it's a little bit of a lie. So we've hit a hiccup already, but don't worry. We will attempt to get around this. Now, it's telling me that I'll be able to get there. Right, where am I now? I'm in Owlin at the moment. And yeah, that's not connected at all. I will have to go. In fact, I can't make it over there at all. So, to be honest, I may have to scrap the start of this episode and re-record, because that is... yeah, there's nowhere else to go apart from LHS 3006. I could, with that much cargo, go to Eranin. With 27 tons, I could go from Eranin to LHS. But at the moment, I can't get from LHS, from this side of the galaxy, across to that LHS side of the galaxy at all. Coming back is also good. I mean, in fact, looking at all of these jumps, they are all connected to LHS, apart from one that is a 2 jump, which 2 jumps isn't really long haul, so I don't really... Alright, we are back. It's telling me that if I jettison some cargo, I should be able to reach LHS 3006, because, I mean, even at 60 times the speed of light, which I'm flying at now, that is going to take way too long to get to. So, I wonder what maximum speed we can get to, actually, while just flying here. But anyway, so what we're going to have to do is I need to get down to 22 tons. So basically I'm going to have to jettison 14 tons of cargo into the yonder, and then we should... alright, there we go. Wait for it to... there we go. So we have jettisoned 14 tons of fish. But to be honest, 14 tons of fish isn't a fantastic amount, so we'll have to bear this in mind now when using BPC, because that's what I'm using to do this. Is that it may lie to you and say that you can make a jump when you really can't. I guess it bases its jump calculations on your non-loaded, so with no cargo, jump distance. Anyway, back to the story. So yeah, played Elite on the Amiga 500. Better graphics and everything. It looked much prettier, but it was still it was exactly the same game. We're going to G23925. G23925. Lock and engage. And we are going there. So, and I remember when you first loaded in, you basically, it's exactly the same as this game here, except you loaded in with the Cobra Mark III, you had a pulse laser, if I remember right, and pulse lasers were terrible. And you started with 100 credits, not 1,000 like you get here, you started with 100 credits. And you could buy cargo, but the problem was, there wasn't, the way the commodities market works now is it tells you the general galactic average. The original game told you none of this information. You basically just had to guess. So basically you'd probably have to play 3 or 4 times and make 3 or 4 starting jumps before you would even be able to sort of make a profit. Oh my god, there's a lot of stuff in this system. We are going to Lalandi. So yeah, you would really have to play sort of 3 or 4 times, 3 or 4 save games before you would be able to make any kind of profit whatsoever. So that was always a little bit of a learning process. The one thing I do remember about the original Elite is you would always try and build up a stock of gold or platinum, because all the cargo is measured in tons except gold and platinum. They were always measured in kilograms. So you could always carry huge volumes of them. So I remember we used to have a little notepad, and we would always chart down the sort of the galactic averages of things like gold and platinum. And if we found a station where gold and platinum was very, very cheap, we would buy a few ton. We would buy as much as we could afford. Obviously not at the expense of the trade that you were about to make. So obviously would keep records of almost everything that we traded, because that's what you had to do in the original Elite. But I think a good cheap price for platinum was something like 50 or 60 credits per kilogram, and if we ever found that price, we'd either buy as much as we could afford, or we'd buy the station out of it. And then if we could sell it for sort of between 90 and 100 credits per kilogram, we would sell everything we had. And that's how you would generally make, well, that's how we would generally make huge amounts of profit in the original Elite, is just by doing that. Because to be honest, you would get a sort of general idea of what the prices were like. But oops, what's going on here? Where are we going now? LHS 3262. But to be honest, without having access to sort of what a galactic average would be, trading was very, very difficult. It was very, very hit and miss. But you would sort of learn over time what was a cheap price and what was a high price, and you'd keep it jotted down. And when you found an even lower price for something, you'd make a note of it. And if you found a super high price for something, you'd make a note of it. But one thing I do remember is we never really hung around in the same place. I say we because I used to play after school with a friend of mine. We'd take it in turns. One of us would operate the keyboard and one of us would operate the joystick. Main fuel tank low, that's fine. We are docking here and we are going to Lewis de something prospect. There's the one. So yeah, we'd basically take it in turns, and one of us would use the keyboard and one of us would use the joystick. And because I mean that was the way you'd have to do it. Because back in the day, you would have to have different keys for different things. Like you would have obviously J for your super cruise still work, but then you'd have to have a button to lock missiles, a button to launch missiles, and then you'd have a button for your EMC, which is when a missile comes in, you'd hit this button and it would destroy all missiles in the area. Then you'd have button for your afterburners and all of that kind of thing. So it was much easier just to have a second person who would control the keyboard and somebody who would just concentrate on flying, and then they would give the orders. Oh, we're getting interdicted. I'm guessing this is probably just going to be NPCs, because I don't see players hanging around this distance. But what we will do is we'll just super thrust out of here and frame shift as soon as possible. Now, someone was saying I should really turn off flight assist for this, but flight assist is a good few buttons away, and I haven't macroed it to voice attack yet. But that is definitely something that I am taking under advisement. Oh no, that looks like players. So we will boost out to here. Luckily, the Cobra Mark III is very, very quick off the mark. So we're able to get out of here no problem whatsoever. I mean, getting up to 400 kilometers per second when we're boosting is definitely handy to get out of there. So what tends to happen is NPCs cause the interdictions, but players tend to hang around with them, and then they can try and swoop in and steal all of your cargo. Luckily, we've only got fish, so it wouldn't be a particularly big payday if someone was to knock us on our ass and take it from us. So yeah, back to the story, the original Elite. So I seem to remember not really hanging around in the same place. Me and my friend would basically just fly from one end of the map to the other end of the map. I know in this game it's all about sort of finding a good trade run and doing it over and over again, and even the next game, Frontier, was all about that as well, as finding a good trade run, sticking in the same sort of local area and doing it over and over again. Whereas me and my friend, what we'd do is we'd just head from one point on the map to the other. And I don't know if that was the same for everybody, or whether some people did play the original Elite as I've just described. Excuse me, whether they would find a good trade run and they'd just stay in that little local area, or whether everybody kind of just picked a destination and kind of flew there. Excuse me. So if you did play the original Elite, and just let me know in the comment section what your general plan was when you played. And then what we'll do is when we reach the other side of the map, we'll generally have a little mooch around, and then we'd invest heavily in one of those drives that you can use to head to a different galaxy. Because there was 8 different galaxies 1 to 8, and you could buy a super drive. I'm not 100% sure what it was called. It was basically a galaxy hyperdrive, and you would use that and it would take you from one galaxy to another, and that would open up a whole new playing field. And then obviously what we'd do is we'd just head from one side of that galaxy to the other, and then when we reach the other side we'd buy another one of those drives and jump the heck out of there as well. It was all just about exploration. But I remember the first game was just, it was so brutally difficult. I mean, sometimes even on your first jump your drive would misfire and you'd get thrown into Thargoid space, which is basically just some black area between hyperspace where these aliens called Thargoids would live, and they would just kick your ass. But I mean, eventually you could get to the point where you could handle them. As soon as you got yourself a military laser and some retro rockets. Because I remember the way we used to do dogfighting was... yes, I know the main fuel tank's low. Where is this rotating? Let us have a look. It is going... Right, so we want to head this way. The way we would sort of handle fights is... things would appear as a tiny little dot on the screen, and then we'd basically just full reverse thrust as far as possible, as fast as possible, and then just shoot the crap out of them, because the enemy ships didn't shoot until they were within a certain range, and it was almost sort of like eyeball distance, whereas you as a player could fire from any range. So we would basically just burn out our military laser, or beam laser, or pulse laser, or whatever we had, would burn it out, firing at the ship as it came in. If we were equipped with retro rockets, we would fire the retro rockets then and rinse and repeat and begin the cycle over and over again. So not over and over again, but we'd begin the cycle over again. Obviously, if you weren't equipped with retro rockets, what you could do is you could just put a laser on the rear of your ship. And then once you'd burned out your front laser, you'd just flip over the top, hit full forwards, and then you'd fire your rear laser. But that was always a little bit risky. Well, not risky, but it was always a little bit difficult, because obviously if you're flying from the rear, then the controls are reversed. So you'd have to be very spatially aware to be able to do that kind of thing, because you'd have to be aiming your laser, but all the controls would be reversed. I don't know if there was a way of flipping it back in some kind of options menu, but I don't remember that was one of the difficulties. Although, having said that, the hardest thing in Elite was docking. Landing in your very first station was the hardest thing in the game. Oh my god, what's going on? We're going to pull away. I have no idea what happened there. Whoops. I kind of... Right, we'll accelerate away. I kind of lost... I kind of took my eye off the docking there, too busy talking, and I kind of just lost it a little bit. I didn't really... I was drifting to the side, and basically just had a moment there where I thought, shit, this is going to end in a crash. You get those moments sometimes, and the safest thing to do is literally just pull away like I just did and come back in for a second attempt. And that's fine, I've got fish. This is a bit better. We've come in at a nicer angle this time. We'll just keep ourselves straight. We are on pad 19. And yes, docking was just a nightmare. You would line yourself up for ages and ages and ages, and then you'd go to fly in, and then you'd hit the wall, and you'd explode, and you would die. Right, where are we? We are... Where the hell is 19? Are we directly above it again? I'm trying to use the compass, but it's not really working. It seems... Oh, no, it's up there. Is that it? Is that number 19? Well, I thought that was 18 when I first came in. Shows how good my eyes are. Let's get the landing gear out. So, yeah, landing was just a nightmare. First purchase you would ever make in the original Elite, unless you were some kind of sadist or some kind of masochist who just loved self-flagellation, was the first thing you buy is a docking computer. Second thing you would do with that docking computer is you'd then go into the options menu and switch off the docking animation. And the reason for that is, even when the docking animation was running, you could still be attacked by other ships. And as far as I remember, there was no way of exiting the docking animation, so you would basically just get blown to bits. But turning the docking animation off, what that would do is basically you'd hit the docking button and you would literally just appear. You would just teleport into the station. Which was always excellent. You basically just hit D for docking and you'd just be there. Like that. Snap of the fingers. Instantly you'd just be in the station. Which is fantastic. Fuel is 150 credits, which isn't bad considering the distance we travelled. Now, I'm a little bit worried that we are here and we were only able to reach here with 22 tons of cargo. So I don't know what this is going to mean for our return trip. I am going to quickly check I think what I'll do, I'm quickly going to check the galaxy map to see if there's any other way back with more than 22 tons of cargo. So we want to go to... Well, actually, you know what? Let us... This is a long haul, so let us check. We are in Lewis. My French isn't very good, so I'm not going to try and pronounce it. Actually, it's LHS. LHS 3262. We are going to change... I'm sorry, I'm just on the other screen. I'm going to change my jump distance to 7.5. 7.5, there we go. Cargo capacity 36, and we are going to do a non-round trip, and we are going to search. And I'm going to have a very quick drink of coffee. So this episode's turning out to be a little bit longer than I expected, just because of that trouble we had with the... let's have a look. So it looks like our best would be to go to Tillian, which is in Marauder's Hope. Where on earth is Marauder's Hope from here? It says it is a distance of 6.7 light years. I don't see... Oh no, it's in Tillian is the system. Ah, there it is there. So we are going to now be taking auto fabricators to Tillian, because I can reach there in a single jump. So we'll go to Starport Services, we'll buy it up, and then we'll make this single jump. And I think that'll probably be a good place to end it once we've done that. So, auto fabricators will be in machines. And look at that, we should be able to buy a full cargo hold without spending all of our money. Indeed, we will have enough to... We'll have enough to pay insurance if the worst should happen. And then we will launch. Whoops, and I've gone to Starport Services. So yeah, hardest thing in the game by far was the docking. Even experts, I mean, even when we've been playing for weeks and weeks and weeks, sometimes we'd accidentally crash into a space station. Obviously, when you're a little bit further in, it's not so bad because you just load up your save game. Because obviously you could save the game, or else then it would just be... It would only be played by masochists. God, there's some people being... Wow, I want to keep out of this guy's way, that is for sure, but... Oh my god, what is he... Oh shit. Keep out of my own way, Jesus. Right, let's... Oh shit. Let's get the fuck out of here. I don't know if that was me or if that was him, but luckily we only took shield damage there. Right, we are going to Tillian. We'll lock... Well, I did say lock and engage, but...
Drive charging.
There we go. Right, let us get on target. And we'll make this last jump. And we'll see what kind of profit we made. We started with about 140,000 credits, I think. 145,000, so we'll see what this long-haul trip's been like. we've kind of made it across the other side of the galaxy now. Well, not the other side of the galaxy, but the other side of the bubble. So I don't think there's going to be any chance of me getting back to sort of Ibutus this time, which is nice. So this is going to be sort of a bit different. We're going to see a little bit extra. We'll turn away from the sun so we don't... Well, not the sun. As you've pointed out many, many times, it is a star. Only our sun is... Well, only our star is called the sun. Thank you for making me look foolish, you guys. And we're quite close to Maunder's Hope. Well, we'll call it Maunder's Hope. So yeah, eventually when you'd played the original Elite for so long, you were capable of sort of taking out multiple opponents, and even the big bad aliens, the Thargoids, were no real match. I remember one little trick we used to like to do would be to... Sometimes we'd actually want to get pulled into Thargoid space, because one little trick you could do is you could fight the Thargoid ship and you could sort of beat it down till it was sort of 3/4 health. And what it would do is if it was within a certain range of you, it would launch miniature versions of itself. It would launch smaller little attack drone ships. But what you could do is, obviously what we'd do is we'd wait until the ship had launched those little attack drones, then we'd just destroy it. And then what you could do is, if you had a cargo scoop, obviously that's one of the first things you buy after a docking computer, or even before a docking computer, you could fly around and you could scoop these little attack drones up. And they weren't really attack drones, because you would then sell them as alien artifacts, or aliens in fact, and you could make a tidy little profit doing that, because they used to be worth quite a lot of money, these aliens. So that was one. I mean, obviously it was a risky strategy because it involved you having to fight Thargoids to begin with, and generally what would happen when you got pulled into Thargoid space is you'd get attacked by sort of 2 to 5 of these ships at once. And beating one down, waiting for it to launch drones, and then moving on to the next one would be quite a risky tactic. But I remember one time, you would literally just jettison all your cargo apart from the gold or platinum you'd been saving up, and then you'd just scoop up all of these mini Thargoid ships, and then you'd fly into the next port if you managed to survive, and you'd be sort of made, you'd be in the money, you'd be rolling in it. And that would be excellent, an excellent little way of making money, but obviously very, very, very risky as well. But I would say overall, my memories and thoughts of the original Elite were all good. I loved the game, absolutely loved it. Sank so many hours of my life into playing that game. Also, I want to know, anybody else who did play it, did you ever get offered any of the secret government missions while you were playing? Because obviously, once you'd been playing for a certain amount of time and you had a certain amount of rep with the Federation, once you docked to the space station, they would offer you a secret mission. And I know the game's totally open-ended, but yes, there were missions, but you'd have to have been playing for a hell of a long time before you even got offered any of these missions. I think we only got offered one mission, and it was to go and destroy a pirate somewhere. We managed to do that. I think it was around about that time we kind of stopped playing, because we never got offered any more missions after that. And like I said, I think we kind of stopped playing around about that time. But yeah, original Elite, fantastic. Obviously, I'm not always going to talk about... Sorry, for some reason I decided to drink a mouthful of coffee halfway through that sentence. I'm not always going to talk about original Elite or Elite Frontier and my experiences with that. I'm just going to talk about general stuff. That's not the button I wanted. But if you enjoy the video and you think it's something that you'd like to see more of, definitely hit the like button and leave me a comment in the comment section. And if enough of you enjoy this series, I'll continue to do it. But the basic premise is what you've already seen. Is going to be me flying around doing long haul trade runs. So I'm talking between 4 to 8 jumps per trade run. I'm basically just talking at you guys. It's not always going to be Elite-based talk. It's not always going to be gaming-related talk. It's just going to be, it could just be general life talk, but it's always going to be sort of just as if you're hitchhiking along with a trucker and he's just divulging his life story because he's got no one else to talk to, especially not in space. In space, it is very, very lonely. Right, let's request some docking. Let's hit all stop. Should be able to spin around now. We're nicely lined up here. One thing you're really going to have to get used to in this game, just like the original, is spatial awareness. It's just being able to think in 3 dimensions. where your ship is in relation to everything else. Also inertia, you're going to have to start thinking in inertia that I need to stop the acceleration now so that I don't overshoot what it is that I'm aiming at. And once you've got those things mastered, you will be golden. I feel like I'm coming into this at a bad angle. There we go. So we'll head at the top here just in case anybody else is docking, but it seems like this place is a lot quieter than the last place we went to dock at. That place just seemed like a bit... Well, it was just busy. It was like Chango and Owl, and it was a very busy place. And look at that. We're going to get in there just as it ticks over like that. We'll get our landing gear out. We are on pad 43, which is beautifully lined up for us already. Right there. Come in for a nice smooth landing. We'll see what profit we made. We made a total of 7 jumps, I think it was. It would have been 12, sort of, with the... Would have been 12 if I was able to make a round trip, but obviously not being able to make a round trip, that was a little bit of a shame. Not my fault, though. I just forgot to take into account... Oops. Realised I overshot that. Forgot to take into account the fact that I was going to have cargo, so I wouldn't be able to jump as far as I thought. But still, we'll see what kind of profit. Now, BPC is telling me that I should make about 36,000 for this, but it hasn't updated for a few hours. So this is obviously not a very visited commodity market, so I'm going to spend the time to make sure that I fully upload this market before, yeah, we'll make it 1,000 per one, so that is a total profit of 36,000. So we made a profit of about 40,000 on this full trip, which is pretty damn good. So next time we kick things off, I may be in Tillian again, or I may have flown off and done a little bit playing without recording, but I hope you enjoyed the pilot episode for Space Truckers. If it is something that you'd like to see more of, be sure to let me know, or if there's any kind of particular content you'd want to see, also let me know, and I can see about making that. Like, if you'd like to see more running and gunning and fighting, sure, I could equip the Cobra Mark III to be a kick-ass fighter, and we could maybe get some more of that done. So thanks very much for watching, everybody. This has been the pilot episode, episode number 0 of Space Truckers. I have been Maxwell, and I will catch you guys next time.